Hello, trading has closed on February 3rd, 2023. We always do our disclaimer first, then we go over our calls and make some predictions. It's my trading plan for Monday, which is February 6th, 2023. Please remember I can be wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high. This is it. Monday should have the early low. Typically it's a negative day with a low in the final hour. Well, we got that, but this really didn't go much lower than we opened, even though we opened much lower. Usually, if this is productive, you get more than that. Here we gapped down, hit lower lows, closed over all the lows. Now time doesn't run out until early Monday, till Monday's open. So we could still open down here, you don't know. But for now at least, failing to undercut these lows is actually a positive pattern. And if that's maintained at Monday's open, we should see higher prices. We had a target, optional target, but it did print 41.44.73. That's this red line. There's a resistance area. We have a new target generated from today's trade that ultimately will see 41.49.55. Now this is just a reminder of what we said. We made the case for yesterday's high holding. These are the patterns I'm looking for next week. During the day we got an ultimate buy signal, gives us this target, and usually we get more than that, 41.49.55. But it doesn't have to print Monday, it just has to print ultimately. Usually you don't have to wait very long. We also generated a lower target. MEJT can generate both higher and lower targets from the same pattern. That's already printed, and all these moves were called unsustainable and had to retrace, which they've already done. Someone made a post on my channel that there wasn't a DeMark combo sell. There actually is. You just have to start counting back here in the middle of October. And if you start your count then and just follow the green numbers, you'll see that we got bar 13 yesterday. These haven't been as productive as I would like as signals go, but at least there is one. Now the general idea is we've completed a huge ABC. We have much higher prices. And we even have a target will hit this line at some point, which is much higher. But that doesn't mean you won't go lower first. I don't think we're in wave 3 up yet, because I can't count this as a 5-wave structure, and I really need more of a drop to complete wave 2 than I've seen. But it's dropping rather grudgingly so far. Let's see if we can count this. I'm not claiming this is the only count, but as long as it works, I'm going to stick with it. Today we have a Fibonacci retrace of the last leg up. Can offer some support, but that support doesn't have to hold. Counting this isn't the easiest thing in the world, but let's see what I came up with. It's possible to count this as an A. It's possible to count this ABC as a B with good fibs. And then if you count the wave down, you can count this as A, B, C, D, E, and the fibs are a thing of beauty to give us an ending diagonal triangle. If that's A, C is right at 38.2%. and ABC for D, we're right at the 23.6. I'd like to think these things don't happen by accident when they're this pretty. If it is an ending diagonal triangle, there's a target of retracing to the origin, which is over 4182. So if that's the right count, we could have a good rally, even though I think yesterday's high is going to hold. So we have an ending diagonal triangle by this count. We have inability to make progress in a pattern which usually is more negative than this, and by negative I mean significantly undercutting the early low. We have a higher target. All this is arguing for higher prices Monday, in fact could be much higher, and it all goes away if we gap under this low, or gap in either direction and promptly undercut the low, which is what pairs need to do if they're going to continue dropping without interruption. If we don't undercut this low fast, we should be higher, and perhaps much higher, even though I think this high is going to hold. Well, Monday's pattern has the early low. That doesn't mean you won't gap up. We gap down, hit a lower low, but then we closed over the intraday lows. So if that's maintained at Monday's open, should lead to higher prices even if we don't close higher. There's a higher MEJT target, and ultimately it should print. There's no time limit, but usually one doesn't have to wait too long. The argument for Thursday's high holding remains a valid argument. If you're going to drop without interruption, bears need to gap and promptly undercut Friday's low to keep the decline going. If they don't, the wave count allows for a rally, and perhaps a substantial rally, which could retrace much of the drop since the Thursday high. So I think the open Monday is going to be telling. This wasn't a very impressive drop. It's obviously overlapping moves tend to retrace. If we hold on to this, we can go way up here. And if we're going to keep dropping without interruption, you really have to gap in either direction, preferably down, and undercut that low fast. And that's what I'm going to be looking for Monday morning to see which of those things happen. Monday's pattern has the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up, and that's today's call.